Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they work? You see them living with freedom, moving through life with ease, while you push, grind, and sacrifice, yet money feels like it slips through your fingers. This isn't about luck. It isn't only about education or even hard work. It's about something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface that most people never take the time to understand. The truth is, your relationship with money is governed by laws that are not written in textbooks or explained in financial seminars. They are spiritual laws, invisible forces that shape the way abundance flows into or away from your life. And if you don't know them, you're unknowingly breaking them every single day. Think for a moment about the emotions you carry when you think of money. Do you feel stress? Do you feel fear? Or do you feel guilty for wanting more, as if desiring abundance makes you selfish or unworthy? These emotions are not random. They are signals of how aligned or misaligned you are with the deeper truths that govern wealth. Most people chase money with the wrong energy, driven by desperation, scarcity, and fear. And the more they chase, the further it runs. But when you learn how these hidden laws actually work, you stop chasing and start attracting. You no longer operate from stress and survival. You begin to step into flow, into alignment, into a state where money is no longer your enemy, but your partner. Imagine what your life would look like if money stopped being a constant struggle. Imagine waking up with a sense of peace, knowing you are supported, knowing you have enough, and knowing you are capable of creating more whenever you choose. Imagine the freedom of making decisions not from fear of losing, but from the joy of expanding. That's what happens when you understand and apply the laws we're about to uncover. They don't just change your bank account. They change your energy, your choices, and your future. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover is not common knowledge. It isn't taught in schools, and most people never experience it because they were too caught up in survival mode to pause and ask the deeper questions. But you're here right now, and that means you're ready. You're ready to shift from confusion to clarity, from scarcity to abundance, from hoping things will get better to knowing you have the power to make them better. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is a map to unlocking the hidden spiritual laws that silently dictate your financial reality. Each law we will explore will open a door inside you, a door to courage, discipline, and belief. And when these doors open, you'll see why some people attract opportunities, why doors open for them, why they always seem to be in the right place at the right time. It isn't luck, it's alignment. So if you've ever felt tired of running in circles, tired of giving everything and seeing so little in return, this is your moment. Stay with me until the end, because each principle will build on the last. And by the time we reach the final one, you will never look at money the same way again. You will see it not as a burden, not as a fear, but as a mirror of your inner state, a reflection of your beliefs, and a tool that responds to how you choose to live. The shift you've been waiting for begins now. We live in a world that constantly teaches us to measure our worth by numbers in a bank account, yet few ever pause to understand the deeper energy that those numbers reflect. Money is not just paper, metal, or digital code. It is energy. And like all energy, it responds to the vibration you carry within yourself. When your vibration is rooted in fear, doubt, or lack, money feels scarce and hard to hold on to. But when your vibration rises into clarity, gratitude, and openness, money begins to flow as naturally as the air you breathe. This is not fantasy. It is the same principle you've already seen at work in relationships, opportunities, and even your health. Energy responds to energy, and your financial reality is a mirror of what you radiate every day. Think about the times in your life when everything felt heavy, when bills piled up and stress consumed your thoughts. Notice how during those times, opportunities seemed invisible, doors felt closed, and even simple chances slipped away. Now think about the moments when you felt light, confident, and purposeful. Somehow people appeared to help you. Unexpected income showed up, and solutions revealed themselves with ease. The difference wasn't the economy. The difference was you. The difference was the energy you carried and the laws you unknowingly aligned with. The first hidden law that governs money is alignment with value. Money flows where value is created, and value is born when you give your best energy to the world. Yet so many people chase money while giving the world their exhaustion, their resentment, their fear. They hope to receive abundance while pouring out scarcity. But money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to contribution. It responds to energy given with clarity, with intention, with a sense of purpose that makes the world richer because you are in it. When you shift your focus from how can I get to how can I give in a way that lifts others, the current begins to move. The law activates, the flow returns. This doesn't mean giving away your power or ignoring your needs. It means realizing that money is a reflection of the service, creativity, and energy you allow to move through you. When you choose to rise above complaint and scarcity thinking, you create space for possibility. You stop repelling opportunities with doubt and you begin attracting them with certainty. And the moment you step into this energy, you will feel it. You'll sense doors opening where walls once stood. You'll notice people drawn to you, wanting to collaborate, wanting to exchange, wanting to support. That is alignment with value, and it is the beginning of everything. If you've been struggling with money, it's not because you are lazy or broken. It's because no one has shown you how to align your inner state with the laws that govern wealth. You've been taught to chase harder instead of to align deeper. But alignment is not about struggle. It's about clarity. It's about deciding who you want to be in the presence of money, not who fear has convinced you that you are. Once you choose alignment, the noise of scarcity begins to fall away. The panic eases. The clarity grows. You are not meant to live in endless stress about survival. You are meant to create, to expand, to experience life with fullness. And when you embrace the truth that money flows to where value is born, you begin to see yourself not as a victim of your circumstances, but as the source of change itself. The shift starts with you. The law responds to you. And as you lean into it, you awaken a power that has been waiting for you all along. The second hidden law that governs money is the law of belief. Every financial outcome you experience is filtered through the lens of what you believe is possible for you. If deep down you believe money is hard, that wealth is for other people, that abundance requires sacrifice beyond your reach, then no matter how much effort you give, your subconscious will sabotage your progress. Belief is the silent architect of your reality. It shapes what you notice, what you attract, and what you allow yourself to receive. And the truth is, most people are living with beliefs about money that were never their own. They absorb them from parents, from teachers, from a culture that glorifies struggle and distrusts wealth. Without realizing it, they inherited limits that have kept them trapped in cycles of scarcity. Think about the thoughts that rise when you imagine yourself wealthy. Do you hear a voice that says, "Who am I to have that much?" Do you feel guilt for wanting more? Do you convince yourself that happiness would be lost if you had more money? These are not truths. These are old programs, echoes of other people's fears that took root in your mind and began dictating your financial destiny. But the moment you see them for what they are, you have a choice. You can continue to obey them or you can rewrite them. Belief works like a filter. If you believe abundance is possible, your mind begins to scan the world for opportunities that confirm it. If you believe wealth is corrupt or out of reach, your mind will block out every chance that contradicts that belief. This is not magic. This is psychology. Your brain is wired to reinforce what it already believes, to filter the billions of pieces of information around you into a pattern that makes sense with your story. So if you want to change your financial reality, you must begin by changing the story you carry about money. Ask yourself, what if wealth is not the enemy? What if money is simply a magnifier, expanding the good already inside you? What if more money in your life means more generosity, more freedom, more impact? When you begin to see wealth not as something that corrupts, but as something that amplifies, your beliefs start to shift. You stop shrinking from opportunity. You stop sabotaging your own success. You step into a mindset that allows money to flow instead of pushing it away. This law is powerful because belief is not passive. Belief is energy. It shapes the way you walk into a room, the way you speak, the way you negotiate, the way you dream. People can feel the energy of your belief, and money responds to it as well. When you believe you are worthy of wealth, you naturally carry yourself with confidence. You ask for more. You see options where others see obstacles, and the universe reflects that belief back to you in the form of opportunities, connections, and growth. The hidden truth is that you are not limited by money itself. You are limited by the beliefs you have accepted about money. But those beliefs are not chains. They can be broken, rewritten, replaced. The moment you choose to believe a greater story, the filter of your mind begins to change and the world rearranges itself to match it. This law reminds you that abundance does not begin outside, it begins in your inner conviction. The stronger your belief in your worthiness, the wider the door to prosperity opens. There is another law that quietly determines how money flows into your life, the law of circulation. Just as blood must flow to keep the body alive, money must move to keep wealth alive. The mistake many people make is believing that holding on tightly, clinging to every dollar will make them safe. But fear-driven hoarding creates stagnation, and stagnation kills flow. Money is not meant to be trapped. It is meant to move, to exchange, to circulate. The more freely it moves through you with intention and purpose, the more freely it returns. Think of the times when you acted from fear and withheld, when you convinced yourself that giving or investing was too risky. Did you notice how scarcity seemed to grow heavier? That is because energy responds to the state it is given in. When you release money with fear, you reinforce lack. When you release it with trust, you activate circulation. The flow you create by giving, by investing in growth, by supporting what matters to you, comes back multiplied. Not always instantly, not always from the same source, but always in alignment with the energy you put into the world. The law of circulation is not about careless spending. It is about intentional flow. It is about asking yourself, does this use of money expand me or shrink me? Does it align with growth or feed my fear? When you use money in ways that expand your spirit, your creativity, your ability to serve others, you keep the current alive. You honor the energy of wealth instead of choking it with fear. And the universe responds by bringing that energy back to you in new and often unexpected forms. This law also reveals why generosity is such a powerful force. When you give without fear, when you support others, when you act from a place of trust that there is always more, you expand the channel through which money can flow into your life. Generosity is not about losing. It is about expanding. It trains your mind to believe in abundance, and that belief activates the very circulation that makes abundance real. What you send out is what returns, and when you send it out with love, it comes back magnified. The fear of not enough is what keeps people trapped. They withhold, they shrink, they cut themselves off from flow. But the truth is, the more you try to strangle money with fear, the more it slips away. Safety doesn't come from holding tightly. It comes from trusting the flow and knowing that circulation is what keeps money alive. This is why those who operate from expansion, who invest in themselves, who give with intention, always seem to find doors opening. Their circulation creates a rhythm that life responds to. Your task is not to cling, but to flow, not to fear, but to trust. Every dollar you release with purpose is a signal to the universe that you believe in abundance. And the universe mirrors that belief by circulating more back into your hands. This law invites you to step out of the trap of fear and into the truth that wealth is alive only when it moves. And when you move with it, when you give, when you invest, when you trust, you create a current so powerful that it carries you into greater prosperity than you ever thought possible. There is a law that sits deeper than action and even deeper than belief, the law of intention. Intention is the silent force behind every financial choice you make, and it decides whether that choice leads to expansion or to emptiness. Two people can spend the same amount of money, but the outcomes are not the same because intention shapes energy. One person spends from fear, from trying to impress, from a desperate attempt to fill a void. The other spends from clarity, from alignment, from a place of knowing that money is a tool to create growth. The action looks the same, but the vibration is completely different, and the results are worlds apart. Every dollar carries the imprint of the intention behind it. If your intention is survival, your money will keep you stuck in survival. If your intention is growth, your money will open pathways to growth. This is why so many people feel exhausted by money. They use it unconsciously, without awareness of the energy they are attaching to it. They treat it as a weapon against fear rather than a bridge to possibility. But when you choose intention, when you pause and ask yourself, why am I directing my money here? What energy am I placing into this choice? You reclaim your power. You stop reacting and start creating. Intention is what separates true abundance from empty accumulation. Without clear intention, you can chase money endlessly and still feel poor. With clear intention, even small amounts of money create momentum, freedom, and joy. It is not the size of the money that matters, but the clarity of the energy guiding it. This is why alignment feels powerful. This is why generosity feels expansive. The energy behind the act gives it life, and intention is that energy made conscious. When you begin to live with intentional money choices, you step into alignment with purpose itself. Your money starts serving your vision instead of your fear. You no longer spend to escape, but to expand. You no longer chase to prove, but to create. And the world responds to this energy by sending you more opportunities that match your clarity. Life reflects your inner state. And when your intention is aligned with growth, the reflections that come back are always growth. This law is also a mirror of your deeper self. What you intend with money reveals what you truly believe about yourself. If you intend only to survive, it's because you believe survival is all you deserve. If you intend to create, to expand, to live fully, it's because you are beginning to believe you are worthy of more. And that belief turns intention into power. Every conscious choice becomes a declaration. I am not ruled by fear. I am guided by clarity. I am aligned with abundance. Your money must know where it is going, and it must be guided by the energy of expansion, not desperation. The universe does not respond to empty motion. It responds to the vibration of your deepest intention. When you begin to align that vibration with trust, with purpose, with growth, money stops being random. It becomes a tool that builds, a force that expands, a reflection of the clarity you now carry inside. This law reminds you that abundance is never an accident. It is the natural outcome of living with conscious intention. There is a law that many overlook, yet it silently determines the size of the container you hold for wealth. The law of gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite gesture or a fleeting emotion. It is the frequency that signals to the universe that you are ready for more. Without gratitude, abundance cannot grow. When you focus only on what is missing, you shrink the space available for wealth to flow into your life. But when you cultivate gratitude, even for the smallest blessings, you expand that space, and money responds by multiplying. Most people live in a constant cycle of not enough. They wake up already thinking of bills, debts, and the weight of financial pressure. In that mindset, no matter how much money enters, it never feels like it satisfies. Scarcity remains because the inner state has not shifted. Gratitude breaks this cycle. Gratitude transforms lack into abundance by shifting the focus from what you don't have to what you already do. And this shift changes everything because energy flows where attention goes. When you give your attention to lack, you expand lack. When you give your attention to what is already working, you expand abundance. Gratitude is a declaration to life. I see the value already present, and I am open to receiving more. It rewires your mind, softens your fear, and strengthens your belief. It creates peace in the present moment, and from that peace, new opportunities arise. You cannot attract wealth while drowning in resentment. You cannot open doors while fixating on what has not yet arrived. But when you anchor yourself in gratitude, you align with the frequency of abundance itself, and the flow of money naturally gravitates toward you. This law does not require you to pretend everything is perfect. It asks only that you recognize the good that is already here. Every breath, every lesson, every opportunity, every step forward, each one is a seed of abundance. And when you honor those seeds with gratitude, they grow. Gratitude is water for the garden of wealth. Without it, seeds dry up. With it, they flourish. When you begin to practice gratitude with money, something profound happens. A bill arrives, and instead of fear, you feel thankful for the service it represents. The roof over your head, the electricity that powers your home, the food that nourishes your body. Money leaves your hands, but instead of resentment, you release it with appreciation, knowing it has already served you and will circulate back in new form. This shift alone changes your energy so dramatically that money begins to return in ways you once thought were impossible. Gratitude is also a safeguard against greed. It ensures that no matter how much you grow, you remain connected to the truth that abundance is a gift and a responsibility. It humbles you and empowers you at the same time. It reminds you that wealth is not just accumulation, but connection. Connection to yourself, to others, to the source that makes all things possible. The law of gratitude expands your capacity to receive. The more grateful you are, the more room you create, the more you recognize the abundance already present, the more abundance flows toward you. This law is not optional, it is essential. Without gratitude, money feels meaningless and abundance feels hollow. With gratitude, even the smallest increase becomes a miracle. And from that miracle, a greater flow begins. There is a law that reveals why some people rise beyond limits while others remain stuck despite effort. The law of faith. Faith is not blind hope or wishful thinking. Faith is the unshakable knowing that what you desire is already aligned with you, even before you see it. Money responds to this energy with absolute precision. When your heart is filled with doubt, you unconsciously close the door to opportunity. But when you stand firm in faith, that door swings wide open, and possibilities pour in from directions you could never predict. Faith is the antidote to fear. Fear says there is not enough. Faith declares there is always more. Fear whispers you are not worthy. Faith affirms abundance is your birthright. Every financial challenge you have ever faced is not a test of your skills alone, it is a test of your faith. Do you collapse under pressure, or do you trust that you are guided towards solutions even when you cannot yet see them? This choice determines whether you spiral deeper into scarcity or rise into abundance. When you act from fear, you shrink. You hesitate. You miss opportunities because you are too focused on what could go wrong. But when you act from faith, you move boldly. You step into situations that once intimidated you. You ask for what you deserve. You take aligned risks because you trust in the unseen support that meets you on the path. And that courage born of faith is what creates the breakthroughs that transform your financial reality. Faith is not passive. It is active energy. It shapes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. When you live with faith, you radiate confidence. You stop begging life to give you scraps and instead align yourself with abundance. People feel this shift. Opportunities feel this shift. Money feels this shift. Faith changes not just what you believe, it changes who you are being in every moment. This law also requires surrender, not surrender as in giving up, but surrender as in releasing control of the outcome. Faith trusts that life is always working in your favor, even if the process does not look the way you imagine. When you cling desperately to control, you block flow. But when you release and trust, you open space for greater outcomes than your mind could ever calculate. Money begins to arrive in unexpected ways. Doors open that logic alone could not explain. This is not chance. It is the natural response to the energy of faith. The most powerful wealth you can carry is not in your wallet, but in your heart. The wealth of certainty that no matter what happens externally, you are supported, guided, and capable of creating again and again. That kind of faith makes you unstoppable. It silences the noise of fear and empowers you to act with clarity even when the world doubts you. The law of faith is a reminder that abundance begins long before you touch it. It begins in the unseen realm of your belief, your trust, your willingness to walk forward even in uncertainty. When you choose faith over fear, money no longer feels like a constant battle. It becomes a flow that follows your courage, your conviction, and your certainty that abundance is already yours. There is a law that determines whether the wealth you create lasts or slips away, the law of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and manifestation, between desire and reality. Without discipline, dreams collapse under the weight of inconsistency. With it, even the smallest seeds of effort grow into forests of abundance. Money responds to structure. It thrives when treated with respect, clarity, and direction. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect, the decision to align your daily actions with the life you claim to want. Every choice you make with money is either strengthening or weakening your future. The coffee you buy without thinking, the impulse purchase to soothe temporary stress, the habit of postponing savings, all of these decisions carry energy. Discipline does not strip you of freedom, it gives you freedom. It frees you from the anxiety of constant scarcity, from the weight of financial chaos, from the endless cycle of earning and losing. Discipline creates order, and order creates flow. When you embody discipline, you no longer move with the noise of the moment. You move with clarity of vision. You set boundaries for yourself not because you are afraid, but because you know your worth is greater than short-term gratification. You redirect your money with purpose. You allow every dollar to serve your expansion instead of your distraction. This energy builds momentum, and momentum attracts even greater opportunities to grow. The lack of discipline is why so many people sabotage their abundance. They desire freedom but live in habits that keep them bound. They pray for prosperity while leaking wealth through unconscious choices, but discipline restores integrity. It ensures that what you say you want matches what you actually do. When your actions align with your intentions, the universe mirrors that alignment by sending greater flow into your life. Discipline is not about living in restriction. It is about channeling your power. It is about creating structures that support your growth instead of destroy it. Just as water becomes powerful when directed through a riverbank, your money becomes powerful when guided by discipline. Without it, water floods and destroys. With it, water sustains and multiplies. Your wealth works the same way. This law also expands beyond money itself. Discipline sharpens your character. It teaches you patience, focus, and resilience. It turns you into a person capable of carrying wealth without being consumed by it. Abundance without discipline is chaos. Abundance with discipline is legacy. The universe will not give you more than you can hold, and discipline is the vessel that proves you are ready. When you master discipline, you no longer fear money leaving because you know how to guide its return. You no longer live at the mercy of impulse because you have chosen vision over distraction. You no longer confuse freedom with recklessness because you have learned that true freedom is born from structure. This is the quiet power of discipline. It transforms abundance from a fleeting moment into a lasting state. The law of discipline reminds you that wealth is not just about attraction. It is about stewardship. It is about proving through your choices that you are ready to hold, multiply, and honor what you receive. When you live by this law, money ceases to control you. You become the master of your resources, the architect of your future, and the guardian of abundance that endures. There is a law that transforms money from something temporary into something timeless, the law of purpose. Purpose gives meaning to abundance, and without it, even great wealth feels empty. You were not born to simply collect money and guard it like treasure. You were born to use it as fuel for your highest calling. Money without purpose becomes noise, a hollow pursuit that leaves you chasing endlessly but never fulfilled. But when wealth is connected to purpose, every dollar carries meaning, every decision carries weight, and your financial life becomes a mirror of your deepest truth. Purpose elevates money beyond survival. It shifts your energy from how do I get more to how do I direct what I have toward what matters most. This shift changes not only how money flows, but also how it feels. Without purpose, abundance becomes accumulation. With purpose, abundance becomes transformation. Money is no longer just about what you can buy, but about what you can build, who you can impact, and what legacy you will leave behind. When you align your financial life with purpose, you begin to experience a peace that numbers alone cannot provide. You stop comparing yourself to others because your wealth is no longer measured against their achievements, but by how faithfully it serves your mission. Purpose removes the emptiness of greed and replaces it with fulfillment. It anchors you in something unshakable, something that wealth cannot corrupt and poverty cannot erase. The universe responds powerfully to those who move with purpose. When your money decisions are guided by a clear vision, life seems to open doors in alignment with that vision. Opportunities arise not because of chance, but because your energy has become magnetic. People sense when you are driven by more than ego. They sense when your wealth carries meaning, and they are drawn to that energy. Purpose amplifies your impact, and money flows toward impact. This law also protects you. Without purpose, it is easy to lose yourself in the pursuit of more, forgetting who you are and why you began. With purpose, you are grounded. You know when to say yes and when to say no. You no longer chase opportunities that pull you away from your mission because you understand that not all money is meant for you. Some wealth destroys. Purpose ensures you only receive and hold the wealth that builds. Purpose also magnifies generosity. When you connect your money to something larger than yourself, giving becomes natural, powerful, and joyful. You no longer see it as loss, but as expansion. because you are fueling something that outlives you. Every contribution becomes a seed planted in the soil of your legacy. And as you plant, the harvest multiplies, not just in your life, but in the lives you touch. The law of purpose reminds you that abundance is never just about numbers. It is about meaning. Wealth alone cannot satisfy, but wealth aligned with purpose can transform not only your life, but the world around you. When you live by this law, you stop asking if you are worthy of abundance. You begin to understand that abundance is worthy of you only when it serves the purpose for which you were created. And in that moment, money becomes more than a tool. It becomes a sacred partner in the fulfillment of your destiny. There is a law that binds all the others together, the law of identity. You will never rise financially beyond the image you hold of yourself. Money cannot expand where self-worth contracts. If deep inside you see yourself as small, undeserving, or limited, no amount of external abundance can survive in your life. It will slip through your fingers because your inner identity cannot sustain it. But when you elevate the way you see yourself, when you begin to embody the identity of someone who is worthy of wealth, responsible with wealth, and aligned with wealth, everything changes. Identity is the foundation of your financial reality. Every habit, every decision, every belief grows from the soil of how you perceive yourself. If you carry the identity of someone who always struggles, you will unconsciously recreate struggle no matter how much you earn. If you carry the identity of someone who attracts opportunities and multiplies abundance, you will unconsciously recreate prosperity no matter the obstacles you face. Identity is destiny, and until you shift it, you remain chained to patterns that feel impossible to escape. This is why so many people who suddenly gain money lose it just as quickly. They never transform the identity that could hold abundance. The external changed, but the internal stayed the same. And the law of identity always wins. To build lasting prosperity, you must ask yourself not just what you want to have, but who you are willing to become. Because the universe does not simply give you what you want, it mirrors who you are. When you embody the identity of someone aligned with wealth, your behavior naturally shifts. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You treat money with respect instead of fear. You no longer make choices to prove your worth because you know your worth is already secure. Money becomes a reflection of that security, not a replacement for it. And in this state, abundance feels natural, not forced. It feels inevitable, not accidental. The law of identity is also about integrity. When your inner self matches the outer reality you seek, there is no resistance, no conflict, no sabotage. You stop living as two different people, the one who dreams of abundance and the one who doubts it. You become unified, and that unity is power. From that power, wealth flows because nothing inside you is blocking it. To transform your financial future, you must rise into the identity of the person who already lives that future. Ask yourself, how does that person think? How do they speak? How do they act when faced with choices? How do they carry themselves when opportunities arise? And then step into that identity now. Do not wait for money to confirm it. Become it first, and the money will follow. This law is the culmination of all others, because value, belief, circulation, intention, gratitude, faith, discipline, and purpose all flow from who you believe yourself to be. If your identity is rooted in scarcity, every law will weaken. But if your identity is rooted in abundance, every law will strengthen. The most important investment you can ever make is in the elevation of yourself. Because when you expand who you are, you expand what life can give you. And when you finally align your identity with the abundance you seek, money has no choice but to follow. Every law of wealth points to one truth. You are not separate from abundance. You are an extension of it. The universe is not withholding from you. It is reflecting you. The only barriers between you and the flow of prosperity are the ones built within your own mind. Fear, doubt, guilt, and limitation are walls you have unknowingly raised. And money has simply obeyed the architecture of your energy. But here's the power. What has been built can be torn down, and what has been torn down can be rebuilt. The moment you choose alignment, those walls begin to fall, and what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. You must understand that abundance is not something you chase. It is something you embody. The world has trained you to run after it, to pursue it as though it is distant and rare. But when you chase, you affirm its absence. When you embody, you affirm its presence. This shift is not about arrogance or pretending. It is about deciding to live today in the energy of the future you claim to desire, to think, act, and breathe as though abundance already belongs to you, because energetically it does. Money is not separate from spirit. It is a spiritual mirror showing you where you are aligned and where you are divided. If you believe you are unworthy, money reflects scarcity. If you believe you are powerful, money reflects expansion. This is why the spiritual laws are not optional philosophies. They are the mechanics of your reality. They operate whether you acknowledge them or not. And when you choose to align with them consciously, life stops feeling like resistance and begins to feel like rhythm. You have within you the capacity to transform not only your financial reality, but the way you see yourself. That transformation is the real wealth, because once you shift internally, external results must follow. They have no choice. The universe cannot withhold from a mind and heart that are aligned with abundance. It must respond, because you are no longer asking from lack, you are declaring from fullness. This is where courage enters. To embody abundance before it appears requires trust, discipline, and persistence. It requires choosing faith over evidence, choosing gratitude over complaint, choosing alignment over fear. These choices are not easy, but they are the doorway. Each time you choose the energy of abundance, even in small ways, you strengthen your signal. And as the signal strengthens, the flow of money responds with greater speed, greater ease, and greater magnitude. You are not waiting for wealth to find you. Wealth is waiting for you to rise into alignment with it. It is not separate, not hiding, not absent. It is woven into the very energy of your being. The question is not whether abundance exists. The question is whether you are willing to step into the identity, the belief, the gratitude, the discipline, and the purpose that unlock it. When you begin to live from this truth, money stops being a weight on your shoulders and becomes a current that carries you forward. You realize you were never meant to struggle endlessly, but to expand, to create, to contribute, and to rise. The laws are not against you. They are for you. They are waiting for you. And when you choose alignment, when you choose to embody abundance now, you will see that wealth was never far away. It was always within you, waiting for the moment you decided to believe. The greatest illusion is that wealth is something you must chase endlessly, as though it lives somewhere outside of you. But wealth is not a place you reach. It is a state you allow. It flows to those who stop clutching at life with desperate hands and begin to open with trust, gratitude, and clarity. The moment you release the grip of fear, you make space for abundance to enter. Fear tightens, gratitude expands, and expansion is the natural environment of wealth. Every thought you think is a seed. Every feeling you nurture is water for that seed. When you think from lack, you plant weeds of scarcity. When you feel gratitude even before the harvest, you water the seeds of prosperity. The soil of your life cannot produce something different from what you plant. This is why gratitude is not a ritual, it is a strategy. It reprograms your mind to notice opportunities instead of obstacles, to create value instead of complain about limitation, to attract growth instead of repeat decline. This is the turning point where you begin to realize that your external reality is not punishing you. It is teaching you. Every financial challenge you have faced has been a mirror of the beliefs you carried. That is not a reason to feel shame. It is a reason to feel power. Because if your beliefs created what you do not want, your beliefs can also create what you do want. The same energy that builds struggle can build success if you are willing to redirect it with intention and discipline. But discipline here is not about deprivation or harsh self-control. True discipline is devotion to your higher self. It is the daily choice to act in alignment with the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. When you consistently align your behavior with your future identity, wealth begins to feel like gravity, unavoidable, undeniable, always pulling you forward. It may not come in the form you expect, but it will come because the law of alignment cannot be broken. The universe rewards clarity, and clarity comes from commitment. Half-hearted intentions cannot produce full-hearted results. You cannot say you desire abundance while entertaining thoughts of scarcity. You cannot claim prosperity while nurturing habits of fear. Every choice is a declaration of who you are. Every action either confirms your scarcity or affirms your abundance. And the accumulation of these choices builds your financial destiny. When you truly decide that you are no longer available for scarcity, something inside you shifts. You stop tolerating the patterns that drain you. You stop speaking words that weaken you. You stop living in the shadow of doubt. And instead, you step into the power of deliberate creation. This decision is not loud. It is quiet, but it is absolute. It becomes the invisible anchor that holds you steady as abundance rises to meet you. Money is not the end goal. It is a tool, a mirror, a messenger. It reveals to you where you stand with yourself. When you learn to see it this way, you stop worshiping it and stop fearing it. You begin to master it. And mastery is never about possession. It is about perspective. You are not here to beg for wealth, nor to obsess over it. You are here to align with it, to allow it, and to use it as fuel for the greater life you are destined to live. True wealth is born when you understand that money is not an end in itself, but a channel through which your purpose flows. Without purpose, money becomes shallow. It multiplies distractions instead of meaning. It magnifies emptiness instead of fulfillment. But when you attach money to something greater, when you connect it to impact, contribution, and legacy, it transforms into energy that not only sustains you, but uplifts others. This is where abundance becomes limitless, because purpose opens doors that mere ambition never can. Purpose is the compass that directs your wealth toward expansion. It gives your financial journey depth and meaning, turning every dollar into a statement of who you are and what you stand for. When you live without purpose, money slips through your hands because there's no container strong enough to hold it. But when your purpose is clear, money naturally gravitates toward you because the universe supports those who support life. It becomes less about what you can take and more about what you can create. You were not placed here to merely survive. You were placed here to express, to expand, to transform the space around you. And money, when aligned with that truth, becomes a tool of liberation. It gives you the freedom to bring your vision into form, the resources to serve, the stability to grow without fear. Wealth tied to purpose multiplies not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. That is why those who chase money without meaning often end in frustration, but those who chase meaning find that money follows effortlessly. When you live on purpose, every challenge becomes fuel. Financial setbacks no longer feel like punishment. They feel like preparation. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every delay a redirection. Every obstacle an opportunity to strengthen the mission you carry. This shift is powerful because it prevents you from being enslaved by circumstances. You rise above them, anchored by a vision larger than yourself. Purpose demands that you ask deeper questions. What are you building? Who are you becoming? How will your wealth speak when you are no longer here? These questions awaken the part of you that refuses to settle for mediocrity. They call forth courage, discipline, and resilience because purpose is not about comfort. It is about becoming. And when you tie your wealth to becoming, you step into a flow that cannot be stopped by fear, doubt, or scarcity. Money becomes sacred when you understand it as an extension of your spirit. Every decision with it either aligns with your higher self or distances you from it. That awareness alone changes how you earn, how you spend, how you give. You no longer treat money as a mere transaction. You treat it as energy that can amplify light or shadow. With purpose, you choose light. This is where true abundance lives, not in chasing more for the sake of more, but in aligning every resource you attract with a higher calling that lives within you. When you operate from this place, money stops controlling you, and you begin to command it, not through force, but through clarity. And clarity, backed by purpose, is unstoppable. It magnetizes wealth, it multiplies it, and it directs it toward a life that is not only rich in possessions, but rich in meaning, rich in freedom, and rich in fulfillment. Wealth aligned with purpose awakens a deeper truth. You are not here to live in isolation, you are here to live in connection. Money expands most powerfully when it moves through you into the lives of others. Hoarded wealth stagnates. Shared wealth multiplies. The flow of abundance is meant to circulate like breath, in, out, in, out. When you withhold, you cut yourself off from the rhythm of life. But when you give, when you invest in others, when you allow your prosperity to serve beyond yourself, you create an energy that draws even greater abundance back to you. Generosity is not about the size of what you give, but the spirit with which you give it. A heart that releases without fear is a heart that trusts the infinite source. And trust is the magnet of miracles. When you let go of the idea that giving reduces you, you discover that giving expands you. You cannot outgive the universe. Every seed planted in kindness, in service, in contribution returns in ways greater than you can imagine sometimes, directly, sometimes indirectly, but always multiplied. This is why wealth without contribution feels hollow. You can accumulate numbers in an account, possessions in a home, and still feel empty if none of it flows beyond you. But the moment you allow your wealth to touch lives, to heal, to uplift, to inspire, you feel the truth. You are not separate from others. You are part of a greater whole. And in serving that whole, you tap into an infinite current of abundance that never runs dry. Contribution also heals the fear of not enough. Scarcity thrives in self-centered thinking, in the belief that you must protect yourself at all costs. But when you contribute, you prove to your own subconscious that you have more than enough to share. That act rewires your identity from one of lack to one of abundance. You begin to see yourself not as a consumer of resources, but as a creator of value. And creators attract wealth because they expand life for others. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, is a declaration of faith. It is a statement to the universe: I trust the flow. I trust that more will come. I trust that what I give will return multiplied. And because faith is always rewarded, that declaration attracts opportunities, relationships, and resources that could not have arrived otherwise. Money, in this sense, becomes a language of love. It speaks when words cannot. It builds when hands cannot. It heals when distance cannot. To use your wealth with intention and compassion is to align with the highest vibration of abundance. It transforms every dollar from a number into an instrument of impact, every transaction into an act of purpose, every contribution into a ripple that moves far beyond what you can see. This is the law of circulation at its highest expression: to breathe in abundance and breathe it out freely, to allow money to move through you instead of trying to chain it to you, to recognize that wealth is not measured by what you keep, but by what you allow to expand. And when you live this way, you will never fear money again. You will know deep within that as long as you remain a channel for abundance, the flow will never end. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they work? You see them living with freedom, moving through life with ease, while you push, grind, and sacrifice, yet money feels like it slips through your fingers. This isn't about luck. It isn't only about education or even hard work. It's about something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface that most people never take the time to understand. The truth is, your relationship with money is governed by laws that are not written in textbooks or explained in financial seminars. They are spiritual laws, invisible forces that shape the way abundance flows into or away from your life. And if you don't know them, you're unknowingly breaking them every single day. Think for a moment about the emotions you carry when you think of money. Do you feel stress? Do you feel fear? Or do you feel guilty for wanting more, as if desiring abundance makes you selfish or unworthy? These emotions are not random. They are signals of how aligned or misaligned you are with the deeper truths that govern wealth. Most people chase money with the wrong energy, driven by desperation, scarcity, and fear. And the more they chase, the further it runs. But when you learn how these hidden laws actually work, you stop chasing and start attracting. You no longer operate from stress and survival. You begin to step into flow, into alignment, into a state where money is no longer your enemy but your partner. Imagine what your life would look like if money stopped being a constant struggle. Imagine waking up with a sense of peace, knowing you are supported, knowing you have enough, and knowing you are capable of creating more whenever you choose. Imagine the freedom of making decisions not from fear of losing, but from the joy of expanding. That's what happens when you understand and apply the laws we're about to uncover. They don't just change your bank account, they change your energy, your choices, and your future. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover is not common knowledge. It isn't taught in schools, and most people never experience it because they too caught up in survival mode to pause and ask the deeper questions. But you're here right now, and that means you're ready. You're ready to shift from confusion to clarity, from scarcity to abundance, from hoping things will get better to knowing you have the power to make them better. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is a map to unlocking the hidden spiritual laws that silently dictate your financial reality. Each law we will explore will open a door inside you, a door to courage, discipline, and belief. And when these doors open, you'll see why some people attract opportunities, why doors open for them, why they always seem to be in the right place at the right time. It isn't luck, it's alignment. So if you've ever felt tired of running in circles, tired of giving everything and seeing so little in return, this is your moment. Stay with me until the end, because each principle will build on the last. And by the time we reach the final one, you will never look at money the same way again. You will see it not as a burden, not as a fear, but as a mirror of your inner state, a reflection of your beliefs, and a tool that responds to how you choose to live. The shift you've been waiting for begins now. We live in a world that constantly teaches us to measure our worth by numbers in a bank account, yet few ever pause to understand the deeper energy that those numbers reflect. Money is not just paper, metal, or digital code. It is energy. And like all energy, it responds to the vibration you carry within yourself. When your vibration is rooted in fear, doubt, or lack, money feels scarce and hard to hold on to. But when your vibration rises into clarity, gratitude, and openness, money begins to flow as naturally as the air you breathe. This is not fantasy. It is the same principle you've already seen at work in relationships, opportunities, and even your health. Energy responds to energy, and your financial reality is a mirror of what you radiate every day. Think about the times in your life when everything felt heavy, when bills piled up and stress consumed your thoughts. Notice how during those times, opportunities seemed invisible, doors felt closed, and even simple chances slipped away. Now think about the moments when you felt light, confident, and purposeful. Somehow, people appeared to help you, unexpected income showed up, and solutions revealed themselves with ease. The difference wasn't the economy, the difference was you. The difference was the energy you carried and the laws you unknowingly aligned with. The first hidden law that governs money is alignment with value. Money flows where value is created, and value is born when you give your best energy to the world. Yet so many people chase money while giving the world their exhaustion, their resentment, their fear. They hope to receive abundance while pouring out scarcity. But money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to contribution. It responds to energy given with clarity, with intention, with a sense of purpose that makes the world richer because you are in it. When you shift your focus from how can I get to how can I give in a way that lifts others, the current begins to move. The law activates. The flow returns. This doesn't mean giving away your power or ignoring your needs. It means realizing that money is a reflection of the service, creativity, and energy you allow to move through you. When you choose to rise above complaint and scarcity thinking, you create space for possibility. You stop repelling opportunities with doubt, and you begin attracting them with certainty. And the moment you step into this energy, you will feel it. You'll sense doors opening where walls once stood. You'll notice people drawn to you, wanting to collaborate, wanting to exchange, wanting to support. That is alignment with value, and it is the beginning of everything. If you've been struggling with money, it's not because you are lazy or broken. It's because no one has shown you how to align your inner state with the laws that govern wealth. You've been taught to chase harder instead of to align deeper. But alignment is not about struggle. It's about clarity. It's about deciding who you want to be in the presence of money, not who fear has convinced you that you are. Once you choose alignment, the noise of scarcity begins to fall away. The panic eases. The clarity grows. You are not meant to live in endless stress about survival. You are meant to create, to expand, to experience life with fullness. And when you embrace the truth that money flows to where value is born, you begin to see yourself not as a victim of your circumstances, but as the source of change itself. The shift starts with you. The law responds to you. And as you lean into it, you awaken a power that has been waiting for you all along. The second hidden law that governs money is the law of belief. Every financial outcome you experience is filtered through the lens of what you believe is possible for you. If deep down you believe money is hard, that wealth is for other people, that abundance requires sacrifice beyond your reach, then no matter how much effort you give, your subconscious will sabotage your progress. Belief is the silent architect of your reality. It shapes what you notice, what you attract, and what you allow yourself to receive. And the truth is, Most people are living with beliefs about money that were never their own. They absorbed them from parents, from teachers, from a culture that glorifies struggle and distrusts wealth. Without realizing it, they inherited limits that have kept them trapped in cycles of scarcity.